Is this the face of a future physicist? Is this the look of an electrical engineer? Will he become a mathematician? Will she become a computer scientist? Join these young people and students from across America and around the world for a National Science and Technology Week open house, live from AT&T Bell Labs. Today, why is Zach getting sacked? Say, what's inside those microchips anyway? See Penn and Teller try to put one over on us. Is this any way to juggle? Watch the Labsters get their act together. Find out how this guy got his headache. And live visits to San Francisco's Exploratorium and the City of Science and Industry at La Villette in Paris. Live from AT&T Bell Labs, produced by the people of AT&T Bell Laboratories for the world's future scientists, mathematicians, and engineers. And now, our hosts Arno Penzias and David Heil.
Hello, everyone. It's National Science and Technology Week, and we're back at AT&T Bell Labs for our third annual broadcast. I'm David Heil, and our host here in Murray Hill, New Jersey is Arno Penzias, Bell Labs Vice President of Research. Hello, Arno.
Hi, it's great to be back, David. Well, I don't see very many empty seats in the auditorium this morning, so it means we have nearly 400 students with us today.
Very full house. In addition, Arno, I need to mention to you that some students in California got up very early this morning to join us. They're currently at the Exploratorium. Good morning to all of you.
And bonjour to our students in Paris at the City of Science and Industry at La Villette, who are joining us by satellite as well.
And hello, bonjour, and buenos dias to our friends in Canada, Puerto Rico, Mexico, Latin, and South America.
And hello, konnichiwa, guten tag, for our other friends around the world.
Now, we'll rejoin some of our friends around the globe a little later, but right now, Arno, where should we begin?
David, we're going to turn the clock ahead 10 years. We're going to see some technologies that scientists even today can only dream about.
Okay, let's take a look, and when we come back, we'll take some questions from our audience.
Good.
Zach, what kind of haircut today? Something special? The do-rag or the gaffle?
Just a little trim, please, Tony.
Do me a favor. Please wait while I take care of a very special customer. Take a magazine.
Who is he?
H.J. Quickly grew up right here in Wilton. Now he's a billionaire. You mean you never heard of the Worm King?
They've taken the bait. We've hooked them. Now $5 billion or no deal. Place hadn't changed in years.
Mr. Quickly, how are you?
Tony, I had business in town. I thought I'd stop by for a haircut before flying out tonight.
How is the worm business?
Tony Worms made me what I am today. When other kids had newspaper routes, I raised earthworms for fish bait. Now I have the biggest worm ranch in the world. My earthworms are used to compost waste into plant fertilizer to feed fish, animals, people. They're nutritious. They're entirely edible. They got no bones or gristle. Did you know that 72% of the dry weight of an earthworm is pure protein?
No, sir, I didn't.
Well, most people don't. But some of the biggest food companies are now using my worms in their products.
H.J., you have a call from the mayor of Wilton.
Thank you very much. Video on. Oh, hello again, Jerry. What's the good news?
Oh, Mr. Crickley, I wanted to tell you how much we appreciate your most generous gift of the virtual reality sports training complex to Wilton High.
Yes!
I appreciate your appreciation, Jerry.
Oh, we appreciate your appreciation of our appreciation. And to honor you and those noble creatures that made this whole thing possible, I'm proposing that the school football team be renamed the Wilton Worms. Meet Willie the Wilton Worm. I thought it up myself.
That's got a nice ring to it. Verma, grab a still.
Image store.
I sewed the worm, blow it up, print out.
100% printing worm.
Of course, there's just a little formality of a school board vote tonight, but all in all, it's a done deal.
Thanks for waiting.
Phone on. Set up a three-way vidcon with Paco and Bucci.
Call in progress.
Hey, Zach, what's happening?
Hi, Zach. Hello, Paco.
Hey, guys, the rumors are true. The school is getting a virtual reality gym, but they want to change the team's name.
Oh, great. The Wilton Weasels haven't won a game since 1993.
Well, do you think the Wilton Worms will do any better? This is the team's new mascot, and the school board's gonna okay it at 6.
Ew, that's ugly.
So what are we gonna do?
Let's email all the kids ASAP. Communicator, send this message to all students at Wilton High.
Attention all Wilton High students. Urgent message from Zach. Urgent message from Zach.
Do we want a worm for a mascot?
Attention. Attention.
Do we want a worm for a mascot?
Do we want a worm for a mascot?
Move this. Flip that. Give me the same color detail right here.
No problem. Is this okay, Bucci?
Perfect. Send a copy of this to Zach.
Will do.
Willie the Worm, your history.
Members of the school board, before you vote your approval for this wonderful gym and our team's new name, imagine our Wilton Worms playing the Dallas Cowboys in virtual reality. Or practicing downhill skiing in July. In closing, I'd like to ask Mr. Crickley to say a few words from aboard his private Ultrajet.
Ladies and gentlemen, I owe it all to the worms. They have made me what I am today.
What's the meaning of this?
We're here to protest changing the team's name without asking us.
You kids go home. We're conducting important business here.
Mr. Mayor, these students have every right to attend this meeting and have their voices heard.
We've got a presentation, too.
This is an insult to Mr. Crickley's generosity.
You may make a brief presentation, and then the board will decide.
First, Mr. Crickley, thank you for your wonderful gift of our new sports center. We promise we'll do our best to make you proud of Wilton, but we don't want to be called the Wilton Worms. Our email poll of 300 Wilton students shows that 82% of the students hate the name Weasels, but 99% say that the Wilton Worms will be even worse. You know, like back to school spirit. But we got 100 suggestions, and there's one that the students really like, the Night Crawlers.
Ah, another name for earthworm. I like it.
And how about this for a mascot?
The Night Crawlers.
It's approved. The team has a new name. The Night Crawlers.
Mr. Crickley, do we still get the gym?
Of course you do, Mr. Mayor. Most important thing is spirit, and these kids have plenty of that. Why, these kids remind me of me. Take them out, get them some big wigglers. Send me the bill.
Without a doubt, Arno, without a doubt, the year 2003 definitely looks like a cool time to be a teenager, wouldn't you say? Especially with these wrist video phones they had. Those were great.
Yeah, for years in movies and TV, we've seen things like wrist phones. I think we tend to think they're just around the corner, but there's plenty of work to do before they become a reality one day. Some of the technology obstacles are still huge.
Before we visit laboratories where people are literally creating the future, let's see if there's a question from the audience here. There's the first question. Let's take it.
When will computers be cheap enough to replace paper and pencils in schools?
Good question. Arno, give it a try.
Well, I think that, I don't think they'll ever be cheap enough. I don't think it's it's not a question of making a computer which is going to be cheaper than a piece of paper. The issue is the function. So I think it's a question of cost effectiveness. Are you going to get more education out? You have to look at the total picture. Under those circumstances, for many applications today, computers are cheaper than pencil and paper because they allow teachers and students to use their time more effectively.
Great. Right now, we're off to see some Bell Labs researchers who are literally inventing the future. Machine, right?
Just a little bit. Well, let's see what you think this sounds like.
Welcome to the TV show, live from Bell Laboratories.
That's pretty good.
Oh, Okay?
It's somewhat monotone, though. It's very neutral.
Well, that's right. And depending upon the sort of sentence that we type in, you may get more expressive intonation.
Across the country, researchers at Bell Laboratories are working together to create devices that can read and speak words. Judy Churgi and her colleagues at Bell Laboratories in Naperville, Illinois, have come up with a number of voice recognition and speech synthesis applications, including this computer program that can read aloud almost anything that's typed in. It's called text-to-speech synthesis.
My name is Dr. Churgi, and I live at 351 St. Louis Street.
All right, it sorted out both the saint and the street very well.
Street. It has to figure out, should it pronounce ST period as street or as saint? Right?
How does it know?
Well, we program in a lot of rules. For example, if you had St. Louis, it would look at the ST period and then see, is it followed by a word that starts with a capital letter and is often a surname?
So there you would have a place distinction.
Right,
then.
and it would say that should probably be saint. If the ST period followed a word that started with a capital letter, like Lewis ST period, it would say that's Lewis Street. Okay.
All right, let's see what else the computer can say to us here.
All right. Do you remember HAL in 2001?
Sure enough. One of the first examples of sort of a talking computer.
That's right. He might have said something like this.
I have the greatest enthusiasm for our mission.
Right, with a modified level of enthusiasm.
That's right. This was a very low-key synthesizer. And here it is in its famous imitation of Groucho Marx.
I never forget a face, but in your case I'll make an exception.
Okay, so it even has a sense of humor. This voice we're hearing actually started off as a human voice. Thousands of sound combinations called phonemes were recorded and then digitized. The microprocessor in the computer recombines the appropriate sounds by performing math computations, as many as 25 million operations a second.
We need to use that math in order to take such a signal, perhaps break that signal up into little pieces, put them back together, recombine those pieces, those signals, in order to produce new speech, or to listen to a piece of speech coming in that's spoken by a human and match it up to what we've stored away in a computer's memory.
So that's the nature of digitized sound, obviously,
That's
is we
right.
rely on the mathematics to put it all back together for us.
Exactly.
With microchips getting faster, smaller, and more efficient all the time, talking computers won't be a futuristic fantasy much longer. So what do we got here?
Well, this is a new personal communicator, David.
Well, it's not quite as small as the pen-sized one used by the Worm King, but this new personal communicator, designed with AT&T's partner EO, is the latest advancement in making portable communications fast and easy. Ray McClellan, a scientist at Bell Laboratories in Murray Hill, New Jersey, is the architect of the Hobbit microchip that was central to making this high-tech device possible.
It allows you to write directly on the screen, and you can send your messages to your friends through the phone lines.
No kidding. So I can just write a message right here?
Absolutely.
All right, we'll write David, phone, home. Now,
You can fax it now directly by just selecting the send.
Off it would go through the fax lines. Fabulous. Now, obviously, something like that is running on microchips, right?
That's right. If you open this one up, you can see them.
Take off the top and expose the insides here. This thing is full of chips, including the main processor that Ray designed, and several support chips. Ray calls himself a computer architect. He comes up with an idea, a general plan for a chip. The next step is to start designing the chip on a computer.
Computers become much more powerful. It even enables us to do more complex designs and build more complex computers.
The Bell Labs research facility in Allentown, Pennsylvania, is where Rob Franzo and a team of computer designers take the ideas, the architectural plans, if you will, and design the chip using computers. In the end, the information from the computer is transformed into a colorful printout called a plot. Just as a city map shows the streets that your car would travel to get to a destination, this plot is a large-scale view of the pathways on a microchip that bits of information take from one point to another. So this printout is 100 times that very chip.
That's exactly correct.
Look at that.
And all the information that is contained within the actual fabricated device is represented here.
But how does the paper roadmap get transferred to a tiny chip? It all starts with a silicon wafer. The wafers are cut from solid silicon crystal ingots, made here at Allentown Works, where Bob Lavigne is a senior engineer. So this is raw silicon.
Right. This is the basic material that the integrated circuits are made out of after it has been transformed to a single crystal. And that's what we
Chunks of silicon like this one start off as sand. After hundreds of chemical purifications, the end product is pure, raw silicon. The pieces are placed into a quartz bowl called a crucible, and from here, they go into a furnace.
So this whole thing is the furnace.
This is the furnace with the associated microprocessor controlled console.
Is it safe
and
to look through the window?
all the neat stuff goes on in here, sure. It's very hot inside.
Before loading the furnace with the raw ingredients, it's cleaned of any residues from the previous crystal. Then the operator loads the raw silicon into the crucible, along with a very small amount of an intentional impurity that allows for better crystal formation. The furnace is sealed and heated. As the pieces melt, they form a pool of molten silicon in the bottom of the crucible. Then a single crystal of silicon, called the seed crystal, is lowered into the liquid silicon. By adjusting the furnace temperature very precisely, the liquid silicon attaches to the tip of the seed and begins to form the ingot.
So this one looks like it's almost done. Then it gets removed from the furnace at that point, huh?
That's correct, after it's had a chance to cool off for several hours.
Aha!
Well,
Here's
thanks
one.
a lot, Tony.
Welcome. So this is a finished ingot.
That's right. This is what it looks like right out of the furnace.
Doesn't feel like it's still hot.
No, it's been out of the furnace for several hours, so it's okay to touch.
How heavy would this be?
Why don't you give it a try?
Just try picking it up?
Sure.
Well, I'd say at least 100 pounds, probably, huh?
That's pretty darn close.
Very heavy.
From here, the ingots are x-rayed, classified, and finally sliced into wafers. The wafers are separated, sorted, buffed, and polished. Then they're ready for the final steps of etching in the pathways that are needed to carry the information.
This is what we call the clean room, David, and that's because it's super clean. Everybody and every bit of equipment in there is very clean.
So, can we just go in?
Oh, no.
I took a shower this morning.
No, first you have to suit up. You have to put on your bunny suit.
Bunny suit?
The bunny suit, much like a hospital gown, is used to keep dirt and skin particles from contaminating the pristine wafers. So it's into the air shower for me and my tour guide, chemical engineer Georgia Di Medina.
This is where the process begins, David. In these ovens, we lay down the first level of material on the wafers.
The first layer that goes into the wafers is a base coating. Then the wafers are coated with special chemicals, which, much like photographic chemicals, are sensitive to light. This step, done under special lighting, is called the photoresist stage.
This is the polystepper, David.
A polystepper. Now, what happens here?
Well, we're laying down the design on the wafers for the chips.
Oh, this is where it actually gets laid on the wafer.
Yeah, the design will be imprinted right on the wafer here, like a photograph.
The photoresist pattern is then carefully checked for accuracy using an electron microscope.
This is my home base, David. This is plasma etch.
Plasma etch. So what does that mean?
Well, after we lay the pattern down, then we etch away the material to make the pattern in the wafer.
Okay, so this is where the real chemical process is going on.
That's right.
Your background as a chemical engineer obviously comes to play here.
That's right.
After a thorough wash and dry to get rid of any remaining chemicals, the next step is to place electrically charged ions and metals into the pathways on the wafer. It's these ions and metals that actually carry the information through the microchip. Finally, moving to another clean room, the wafers are cut into individual microchips. Then the chips are checked for contamination, mounted in plastic, wired with connections for product applications, labeled, and tested again and again and again. Just as the transistor revolutionized electronics, so too will advances in microchip technology change and improve the way we communicate. Okay, Arno. I guess it's no real surprise, actually, that the kind of key technology that we need for these wrist video phones and other space-age inventions is still microelectronics, isn't it?
Oh, yes, David. And I borrowed the first transistor. This is actually the world's first transistor. It was created here at Bell Labs in 1947. And of course, on the chips, we see a lot of these transistors together. By the year 2000, we predict 10 billion components will be on a chip the size of a postage stamp.
Wow, so it's really the number of transistors that we can pack into one of these chips that makes them so powerful?
Yes, partly that's microchips. They're useless without smart software, though. It's the combination of silicon circuitry and software that'll make things like the wrist video phones possible.
All right, thanks, Arno. How about one more question from the audience here? All right, there we go.
Why was the first transistor made, and how long did it take to make it?
Okay. Well, it was made as a substitute for vacuum tubes. Vacuum tubes burn out very quickly. You can only use a very small number if one of them is going to burn out. Imagine if you had 10 billion of them, and every 1 out of 100 burned out once a week or something. Couldn't do it. Okay? So that's why we did it. It took years. First, making the crystal very, very pure took years for someone to work. Then someone doing the theory, putting the wires in. So it's a long time.
Arno, if you remember, I mentioned to you that we have some students joining us from the West Coast this morning. Right. They got up very early to do so. There are a dozen students from Presidio Hills School in San Francisco, California. They're currently at the Exploratorium in San Francisco right now. Now, the Exploratorium is one of the nation's most popular science museums, and their host there is Paul Doherty. Good morning, Paul.
Good morning, David and Arno. I'm here with Irania, Karen, Modesto, and the students of Presidio Hills School.
Terrific. Glad to have you with us today. Paul, the back of our Live from Bell Labs poster this year had a chart of the electromagnetic spectrum on it. We were going to use that for classroom use. And I understand that you and the students are ready to give us a little lesson on waves.
Modesto, what have you and the students learned about bubbles, colors, and the spectrum?
Well, let's show you what we've learned. In fact, we're going to talk about the special property of soap film. And in fact, we're going to use some of the fancy equipment from the Exploratorium, but I see that you guys brought your own equipment. How did you make that?
Well, I took strings and straws, and I cut the string in half, and I sucked it through the straw, and I tied it in a knot.
Wow, that's simple. So we could do this at home. We don't need this exhibit. That's wonderful. Well, let's look at the film for a while, and we got to do this very carefully because this soap film sometimes is very, very finicky. Whoop, it happened. Now let's look at it through here.
They're going to go for a minute.
Can you see anything? Kind of looks like a window, doesn't it? Yeah. Okay. Let's look at it a little bit different. Let's tilt it a little bit. Tilt it a little bit more.
Look,
colors. Hey, fantastic. Wait. We had no colors before. This was clear. Where do we get the colors?
It comes later.
From the light.
I think.
Wow. Yeah. But you know what? Those lights are white. What color are these? What are the colors that you see?
Magenta, purple,
yellow,
pink, turquoise.
Wow, these are very special colors. Are these the same colors you see in a rainbow?
No.
No, rainbow colors are kind of like red and blue and green, kind of ordinary colors. These are special turquoise and magenta. This is fantastic. Now let's just watch it a little bit and look at the way the colors change. Now I said the thickness of the bubble, actually the thickness of the bubble has to do with the way this looks. As the light wave comes in and interacts with the bubble, it makes these wonderful colors. And you know, the light waves we'll talk about in a little bit later with Paul. Now, have you ever seen these colors before?
In shells.
Shells, you've seen them?
Yeah.
Birds' feathers? Has anyone ever seen any oil slicks before?
Yeah.
Yeah. So these are very special colors. Let's look at another type of color that's made by light. And let's go over and see the Karen's rainbow over here, okay? Bye, guys.
The rainbow that we're walking through is called the color spectrum. And all the colors in the spectrum make up the white light of the sun. And have you ever seen a rainbow before? Yes. The order of the colors in a rainbow are always the same, going from red to yellow to violet. And now let's explore some waves with Paul.
At the Exploratorium, we have the world's largest slinky. And slinkies are great for exploring waves. Jeremy, make me some waves. What kind of waves can you make? Slow ones and fast ones. What's the difference between the slow ones and the fast ones? The slow ones are longer. Now actually, I'm going to use the scientific term here. The slow ones we're going to call low frequency. So send me some low frequency ones. Low frequency ones. That's it. Long wavelength. Now send me some high frequency ones. Look at those, short wavelength. The slinky waves are a model for the light waves that you saw. The slow, low frequency ones with the long wavelengths. are the red and the high frequency ones are the blue. So you can do these experiments at home with slinkies and with bubbles, but they're set up for you here at the Exploratorium anytime you come.
If you've been reading newspapers or watching TV, you've probably heard about the U.S. First competition. Teams of companies and schools work together building a robot for a national contest. Bell Labs here, together with Science High School in Newark, New Jersey, partnered for the U.S. First competition, which took place recently in New Hampshire. And here's a look at that collaboration.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Nashua, New Hampshire. Once again, high school students from across the country are going head-to-head in the U.S. First competition. There are 25 teams here today. Each is made up of students and engineers from a major corporation. The goal was to design and build a working robot to meet a specific challenge. This year, to collect rubber balls of different sizes and varying weights. For the students at Newark Science High School, the road to Nashua started last January with a call from AT&T Bell Laboratories.
The feeling was that they are close enough to schools like Morristown High School and so on that they could easily have sponsored a rather affluent suburban school, but they wanted to sponsor an inner city school.
The team of 11 students and 10 engineers met twice a week at Bell Laboratories, led by engineer Kelly Siegel.
In the first session, we did a brainstorming exercise, and it showed them that we could generate over 100 ideas just by working together and working off of each other. We used the brainstorming technique to come up with what are we going to do with this robot? What kind of robot are we going to have? What's its strategy going to be? And we went from there. You know, each session sort of built on the previous session.
It's still much of a wedge.
Yeah, and this, and then if you keep it's only like a
So
minute.
this is like
you get a minute to take it out.
Wow. Probably one of the main lessons I'm learning from this project is teamwork. Because you have to learn to bring all ideas from all different people, incorporate them in one main idea, and then declare your project.
Okay. How many do I have that want to work on the crane part? Well, that's pretty even.
We're greatly involved in this project. We go home and sketch it, think it over, you know, dream about the stuff, you know.
This is the battery holder. Take a look at this printer. There are some nice gears in there.
Every component was carefully chosen.
Who is that?
Each wheel and bolt was fitted together by hand.
Oh, wow.
How's that?
All of us who are involved here, the engineers, the students, everybody, we are really excited about this program because we get to work with each other, you know. I mean, the present gets to work with the future.
As their ideas took shape, they began to see what a robot could do and what they could do.
Oh, I think this is good. I feel good about this.
Did it break?
I don't know. The set screw is off.
Set screw?
Yeah.
Slowly, it came together, down to the final test run. Welcome back to Nashua and the final competition. The goal is to score the most points. You get 5 points for each large red ball and 1 point for each small yellow ball deposited into the goal.
And 5,
it's Dallas Christian High School and E-Systems. And now for the winner of the Chairman's Award.
The Chairman's Award goes to AT&T Bell Labs.
The prestigious Chairman's Award is given annually to the team that is judged to have created the best partnership efforts between a school and a business. Congratulations to Science High School and AT&T Bell Laboratories.
And here is the U.S. First Chairman's Award. Bell Labs gets to keep it for an entire year. What I'd like to do now is introduce you to the Bell Labs Science High team that won that award, along with their leader, Bell Labs' own Kelly Perky Siegel. They're here in the audience today. Perhaps your school would like to participate in next year's U.S. First competition. We'll tell you how to get more information in just a few moments.
All the U.S. First teams were terrific. Congratulations to everybody. And by the way, President Clinton has invited the winning teams to the White House. We're all very excited about that visit.
Now, at the beginning of the show, I mentioned that students around the world were watching our broadcast, some of them via Armed Forces Television. American students in Germany told us they had some questions for Arno, so here's one of them.
Hi, my name is Jose Rivera. I'm in the 9th grade attending Frankfurt American High School in Frankfurt, Germany. My question is, in the future, will it be possible to transport people via radio waves, satellite waves, without using vehicles or anything like that?
This is a Star Trek question involving beaming people from place to place. Actually, I'm afraid it doesn't work, even though I'm an old Trekkie fan, because matter doesn't just turn into electromagnetic radiation by itself. You really got to do something else, and there's just too much to do. So science says no, even though my heart says yes.
But it's a great question. If you have a question that you'd like us to use in a future broadcast, or if you want information on the U.S. First competition or other live from Bell Labs activities, here's how to reach us.
If you have a question for Bell Lab scientists or want information on the U.S. First competition, we want to hear from you. Our address is live from AT&T Bell Labs, Murray Hill, New Jersey, 07974-0636.
It's been said that there's nothing more memorable than April in Paris. Well, let's find out.
We're at the Eiffel Tower, of course, which was the tallest man-made structure in the world when it was built in 1889. Just a few minutes away is another of France's wonders, the city of science and industry at La Follette. 5 million visitors a year come here to explore mathematics, computers, genetics, earth science, communications, and space.
And now we're going to meet La Cité's Director of International Relations, Joël de René. Good morning, Joël.
Hello, Arno. Good morning. Good afternoon. Bonjour, David. We were all very interested by those portable equipment. We see a convergence of many different systems, telephone, computers, in the PDA, the personal digital assistant. It's amazing to see this. But maybe the ultimate, and I think personally, maybe in this generation we will see it, will be the universal translator, which will be very useful for meetings like that. You will talk into a small portable device, and the person you're talking to will understand in her or his own language. This is quite something that human can reach, but maybe the global standards at the level of the world, we don't have the compatibility to allow such a system.
Well, you know, Joël, it's an interesting thought, but remember that people have the same trouble translating from one language to another as machines do. It just takes longer. You know, the verb is at the end of the sentence sometimes. So I would think it's going to take a little bit of a delay, but it's coming. It's coming.
We'll be coming back to Paris in just a few minutes, but first, I want to remind everybody that Bell Labs has a lot of visitors every year. Very few of them are as popular as Penn and Teller.
Here's a little trick we'll show you here. Can we borrow your water glasses, and Teller will set it up. She's got 4 glasses of water. We have a tray here that we ripped from the cafeteria. And then we have some playing cards that are just rolled up, held in place and taped. And he's placing each one of the playing cards over the glasses of water, and we have raw eggs. Which side down is it? Is it that's the round side? Oh, I didn't do it good enough? Now you're about to see an absolute miracle. You might want to move out of the way. You're directly in the path. Shh, shh. Let him concentrate. Yes! Boom! Boom! Yes! Yes! Perfectly done. Perfectly done the first time. Miracle. It's next to impossible to accomplish it. Yeah, yeah. Teller's worked years and years on this.
That's not a miracle.
Why not?
Gravity's on your side here. Yeah. You haven't imparted any transverse momentum to the eggs when you hit the tray. So what happens when the tray is gone, the eggs just fall right down.
Yeah, anybody could do that. There's no skill involved at all. All you gotta do is get the tray out of the way in time. That's it.
Well, he had to hit it just perfect. How does it work then?
The eggs just fall due to gravity. And it's 1/2 GT squared, right? It's just gravity. Right. So you got 1/8 of a second to get the tray out of there.
It has to be exactly.
No, it doesn't have to be exactly.
Well, you shouldn't hit it down. Maybe if you want to do this trick, you might want to perform it at the lunchroom at the Senate.
Penn and Teller are terrific, aren't they?
Yeah.
It's just terrific.
You can't tell from the egg trip, but they're both computer whizzes. And they've got a lot of close friends here at Bell Labs. They'll be back in a couple of minutes.
Now, one of the highlights of last year's Science Week broadcast was Bell Labs mathematician Ron Graham. He not only explained serious math concepts, he literally stood on his head for us. Well, Ron's back this year, but he's not alone. Joining him are professional jugglers Reese Thomas and Tim First.
Now that's a hot trick. And right now I'd like to warm up a little gyroscopic juggling. You'll notice if I put this bowl on this pole, it's not very stable. But watch what happens if I get it spinning. If I get it spinning, it becomes much more stable. This is what we call gyroscopic stability. And now I will attempt to spin 3 bowls on 3 poles and then clear the tablecloth on the count of 5. 1. So far, so what? 2. Now don't worry, these aren't my bowls. Good. 3, 2.5. Fractions are allowed. 2.5, 3, 4. Now seriously, I worked this out on the computer. 5. Yeah.
Well, Tim and Reese have just been demonstrating that juggling, like mathematics, deals with patterns. If you're a mathematician and you like to juggle as I do, it's only natural that you might think about the connections between math and juggling. So today I'd like to have a little fun and show you a brand new mathematical way of describing juggling patterns. First, a few basics.
This is a cascade. You'll notice that the balls are going in a figure 8 pattern. This is not a cascade. And this is impossible. Notice the retractable third arm. After doing an impossible trick, you might want to have a shower, which is the name of this pattern. Pretty good, guys. All right. I'll take those.
That's hard work. Actually, the shower pattern can be done with any number of balls. So for example, here are some 4-ball showers. It's curious that the cascade pattern, however, if you're going to do it symmetrically, you have to use an odd number of balls, such as 3 or 5. Now let's look at this whole thing a little more mathematically. Suppose you wanted to describe a juggling pattern by some string of numbers, where the larger the number, the longer the ball is in the air, and so the higher you have to throw it. For example, 1 is a very small number, so it means a very low throw. There's a 1. And the 1, 1, 1, 1, 1 pattern, well, that's something a little different. Now, a 3 is a little bit higher throw. And if you put 3s together, you get 3, 3, 3, 3, 3. Our old friend, the 3-ball cascade. Now, 5 is a much higher throw, but if you put a 5 with a 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1, 5, 1. Haha, that's our old friend, the 3-ball shower. But you don't have to stop here. By using a more complicated string of numbers, you can have a more complicated juggling pattern. So for example, you could put a 1 with a 4. There's a 1, 4. Well, not too challenging. If you put 2 together, it's 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4, 1, 4. If you look carefully, you'll notice that Tim's hands aren't completely busy all the time. There's a little bit of space where you might put one more ball, like to make a 1, 4, 1, 4, 5, and it might even make a nice trick. Well, moving right on.
I think theory is all interesting, but I'd like to see the practical application. No, don't clap until he does something worth it. I want to see this 1, 4, 1, 4, 5.
Well, it's always good to test your theory.
That's
so,
right.
5.
There it is, 1, 4, 1, 4, 5. Excellent. The mathematician earned his juggling hat.
Well, the theory works. Of course, you can imagine there are lots of unusual patterns that you could use these sequences. For example, here's a 4, 4, 1. Or this is a 1, 3, 5. In fact, there are literally thousands of new patterns that have recently been discovered that were unknown for the 4,000-year history of juggling. The jugglers now are struggling very hard to learn these things. And in fact, I think it's fair to say that a whole new dimension in juggling has been opened up. So, okay. Well, since I've earned my juggling hat, I think it's only fair to share some of this newfound knowledge with a fellow scientist. So, Arno, would you stand right here?
Okay, we're going to stand right
here.
Okay,
Don't
move forward just a little bit, please.
Okay, fine.
I don't mean to be forward, but 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Arno!
Bell Labs has sponsored a fellowship program that has enabled minority men and women to pursue graduate school. Some of the program's graduates came here to work at Bell Labs. Many others, however, are now part of the fabric of American science, engineering, and mathematics. Since you've undoubtedly seen the work of one of the program's graduates, we thought you ought to meet him.
I'm Mark Hanna, Vice President and Chief Scientist at Silicon Graphics. We're here in Silicon Valley, Northern California, just south of San Francisco. We have lots of students come by to take a look at some of the interesting things we do here. I'd like to tell you a little bit about it, but first, let me show you. Pretty exciting, huh? Well, that's just a small example of some of the work that's done on the systems that I designed. Think you might like to do that too? Well, you can, but it starts with math and science courses in school. I became interested in electronics, and I always enjoyed math and science, specifically electrical engineering, computers. I was on a Bell Laboratories scholarship in undergraduate school, right? And so I had the opportunity to work summers at Bell Laboratories in Indian Hill. It was actually my supervisor there, John Kulzer, who convinced me to apply for the PhD fellowship. Yes, some of the areas were a bit more theoretical than I was interested in, but there were a few areas that were really exciting. I really thought the work environment was great. Started off very early in high school taking math and science courses, heavy focus on chemistry, physics, calculus and that kind of thing, and then on through college, majoring in engineering, and going on through not just at the bachelor's, but but the master's and PhD level, I think it really paid off in terms of giving me the capabilities to have a really fulfilling career.
Maybe we can convince a few young people out here to pursue careers in science and technology.
I really hope so. There's a lot to be accomplished, and we need people like you to do it.
Computers have definitely revolutionized movies and commercials, haven't they? Right now, what we're going to do is head back to Paris and some more questions from Joël Desronay and the students there.
Yes, Arno and David, we have several questions for you. We've been thinking about brain-to-machines communication, but let's go very specific. Frédéric has a question for you, and Cécile. Frédéric.
The Minitel is very famous in France. Is it the same in the US?
Cécile.
No, not at all.
Professor Penzias, how is it possible to carry 5 million signals and optic fibers of the size of a human hair?
Arno, let's try the Minitel question first and then do the fiber optic question.
Minitel is, there's no simple analog of Minitel here in the United States. Telephone subscribers don't have a little terminal with information on it. PC users can get that kind of information by dialing up, but there's no system like Minitel. As far as how one can put so many calls on the same fiber, it's very much like a card dealer in a card game. You throw a card to each person out of the deck, and the sequence in the deck decides where the card goes. Imagine the computer as imagine the machine, the computer that runs the transmission system as a card dealer, except it deals with billions of cards and uses them so fast. That's how everybody thinks they're the only person talking over that fiber at once, because of the hands of the computer, as it were, going so fast.
All right, Joël, I think we've got another question from France.
Yes, the inventors have been very creative here, and I want to show you the communication glasses, which are screen, microphone, and headphones at the same time. Look at that.
Way cool, way cool.
This is the communication, the personal communication of the future.
Joël, thank you so much for you and your students joining us today.
Thank you.
The U.S. mail and fax machines around Bell Labs have been very busy. Both have been delivering entries to our Personal Communicator Design Contest, which was outlined in our classroom guide this year. Remember the prize? The winner's class gets an electronic visit from none other than Arno Penzias.
David, I'm looking forward to it. The tough thing has been picking the winner from among so many creative entries. Let's take a look.
From New Jersey, a headset with a scanner and a jacket that's a media center. From the International School in the People's Republic of China, Ashley Sharman's Easy Mail 2000 unit, which includes a language translator. From Mrs. Winberry's class in Deville, Louisiana, a communicator that plays interactive games. From Herblay, France, La Mère Willy sent glasses with built-in data screens, perfect, I might say, for Catwoman. There's Paris.
Wait.
They love those glasses. And this Join Me communicator from 12th grader Ron Baxley of Barnwell, South Carolina, includes an array of virtual reality features. And the winner is the Magnet Center at Parma Senior High School, Parma, Ohio. Now, I have to tell you that we received over 250 individual entries from Parma, Ohio, including this little gadget right here. You wear it around your neck, 3D model, very nice. You open up that personal communicator, and there it is, right there. Not bad, huh? Well, congratulations to Mrs. Margaret Cambereri, the program facilitator, and her colleagues for their incredible effort.
I'm looking forward to meeting the students of Parma, Ohio. We're scheduling the visit now, and the 100 runner-ups will get copies of my book, Ideas and Information for their Classroom.
The people at Bell Labs are a pretty creative bunch, both on their jobs and off. Check out the lead singer in this next segment, and listen to the words very carefully.
long ago is like traveling back in time, don't you know? And speaking of trips, take your smooth talk and chop it into bits. Shoot it into a tiny strand of glass. Move it round the world so fast you have to laugh. Making magic, and you can too. Gotta learn all the tricks you can do to make magic. Scientific PhD, fantastic things from bits of reality. Fantastic things from bits of reality. Got hot machines, clever mental recipes. Latest movies can squeeze into HD TVs. Let's slip into virtual reality, conceived and built by a digital mentality. The intention, you gotta understand, is invention, and that demands curiosity, ability, tenacity, diversity, humanity, ingenuity. Making magic, and you can too. Gotta learn all the tricks you can do to make magic. Scientific PhD, fantastic things from bits of reality. Making magic, and you can too. Gotta learn all the tricks you can do to make magic. Scientific PhD, fantastic things from bits of reality. Fantastic things from bits of reality.
Isn't that great? Terrific. Now I want you to meet Guy Story, who wrote the music and lyrics for that music video. He also was the lead singer in the video, and in fact, he's also a researcher in computer science here at Bell Labs. Guy Story is in the audience with us today. For our next question, we're off to Puerto Rico.
Hi, my name is Ella Woger. I'm a 10th grade student at St. John's School in San Juan, Puerto Rico. And my question is, how was it that you got all of these different elements together in one photograph and made it into a poster?
The poster project began when photographer Richard Horowitz and Bell Labs art director Alona Jones agreed on a creative direction. Soon, sketches became artistic visions. When Penn and Teller spent a few hours in the photo studio, the project kept Teller on his toes. Today, artists manipulate digital images with a keyboard and mouse. It's a synthesis of traditional photography and computer-generated special effects. Here, images of the Flying Karamazov Brothers are being cut and pasted electronically. Each art element is independently layered into a final computer rendering, a digital photo montage. Once all the elements are in place, the image is converted into a color transparency. At the printer, the transparency is scanned into another computer for final image assembly. Color separations are made, and printing plates are produced and placed on the press. As the press is being readied, the final proof is being inspected. Soon, the press begins to roll. The final product is a poster that could not have been created through traditional photographic techniques. Today, computers are giving artists new capabilities and enhancing the creative process.
I promised you that Penn and Teller would be back, trying once again to put one over on Bell Labs researchers. And here they are.
Here's a trick that you guys will like. This uses electromagnetism. Teller's taking all the electromagnetism in his body. He's channeling it through his finger, and now he's going to use it to just make the push pin rise from the bottom of the glass. Watch this. See, it's already standing up. It already feels the force. There you go, Teller. Walking home. Bingo, huh?
Oh,
now there's a miracle.
Electromagnetism has nothing to do with it.
Really?
Not a single thing.
I mean, there's no electricity, there's no magnetism, the glass is plastic.
What's going on is the push pin is acting as a nucleation site, or lots of nooks and crannies for the carbon dioxide gas in the water to collect on.
And then the bubbles just act like a life jacket and it floats to the surface.
Well, you wouldn't know anybody else around here who might fall for a trick like this, do you?
Don't
think so.
Not around here.
Think so.
How about in Pennsylvania?
We're going to take a very quick question from Paul Doherty and the students in San Francisco. Paul?
What will personal telecommunicators be able to do in the future?
Well, everything, your telephone, your fax machine, your printer, and your personal computer can do. All of that will be in your personal communicator, and some advice and little handy stuff like a notebook besides.
Something to look forward to.
Absolutely.
You know, jugglers claim that they can teach anyone to juggle. So Arno and I are going to take a quick lesson. In the meantime, we'll tell you how to reach us here at Bell Labs. We look forward to seeing you again this September 29th for a back-to-school special edition of Live from AT&T Bell Labs. We'll see you then. So Arno, you ready to try it?
We're going to try it today, yeah. Oh yeah, with the big ball here.
If you have a question for Bell Lab scientists or want information on the U.S. First competition, we want to hear from you. Our address is Live from AT&T Bell Labs, Murray Hill, New Jersey, 07974-0636.